John Mercer never expected much from life. At 32, he lived in a small, slightly messy apartment on the edge of the city. His job was ordinary. He repaired old electronics at a neighborhood shop, and his daily routine was predictable. Wake up, drink coffee, fix gadgets, go home, repeat. Life was comfortable but dull. That's why when he saw a small advertisement for an intergalactic sweepstakes, he thought, why not? It's only $1. The ad promised a surprise beyond your wildest dreams, and for John, spending $1 was nothing. He clicked enter and forgot about it immediately, returning to his routine of fixing a broken hollow screen for a neighbor. Days passed and the sweepstakes faded from his mind until the delivery drones arrived. It started like any other delivery, a low hum outside, blinking lights, and a gentle knock on his door. But when John opened it, he froze. Standing in the small hallway was a crate larger than any appliance he'd ever bought. The crate was sleek, metallic, and hummed softly as if alive. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its surface, pulsing like a heartbeat. What the? John muttered, poking the crate with a finger. Before he could figure out how to open it, a soft, melodic voice said, "Hello." John jumped back. "Who's there?" "I am Lyra," the voice said. "I am your assigned domestic assistant." John blinked. "Domestic? What now?" The crate hissed and panels slid open automatically. Inside was a humanoid figure, tall and graceful with skin that shimmered like teal glass. Her eyes were like multifaceted gems, reflecting the tiny apartment lights in rainbow patterns. She stepped out carefully, moving with perfect balance. John stumbled backward. Am I hallucinating?" Lyra tilted her head, smiling. "No hallucination, I am real. I am here to assist you." He rubbed his eyes and looked again. She was real, all shimmering teal skin and elegant movements. Somehow he had won a sweepstakes that delivered. "An alien maid. This is—" "Impossible," John stammered. "I thought I only won $1. Lyra's voice was calm and even. "Your prize is me. I am fully equipped to serve domestic and personal needs." John laughed nervously. "Well, I mean, okay, but I don't even have space for whatever you are." Lyra tilted her head. "I adapt to the environment. My size and functions are compatible with small dwellings." John shook his head. "Right, small dwellings. Got it." He stared at her, trying to process. One moment, he was a normal man with a boring life. The next, his apartment had a real, intelligent alien in it. Lyra didn't look like a robot, though. There were no visible wires, no metal joints, just an elegant, living being with glowing skin and perfect manners. Okay, John said finally. "I guess welcome." "I'm John." "I am Lyra," she replied. "It is a pleasure." And just like that, John's ordinary life had changed forever. The next few hours were a whirlwind. Lyra moved around the apartment effortlessly, tidying up dishes John hadn't washed in weeks. She even repaired a broken coffee machine without asking, using small tools that emerged from hidden compartments in her sleeves. But it wasn't just cleaning, she seemed to understand everything. "Lyra, how did you fix that so fast?" John asked, wide-eyed. It was a simple mechanical malfunction. Humans often struggle with precision adjustments. "I calculate the optimal method instantly," she said. John chuckled nervously. "Yeah, humans struggle, sure. That's us, messy, slow, stubborn humans." Lyra paused and looked at him curiously. "Your species shows creativity and problem-solving." "That is admirable." John grinned, feeling a little proud. "Well, I can't argue with that." Despite the novelty, chaos followed. Word of the alien spread quickly. Neighbors stared at John's apartment windows, pointing and whispering. Drones from the city's authorities hovered nearby, scanning his apartment. There were rumors about illegal alien technology, and John feared someone might take Lyra away. Or worse, arrest him. Lyra, maybe we should hide you?" John whispered nervously. Lyra's eyes flickered. "I am detectable, yes. But I will comply with human social norms. No need for alarm unless threatened." John shook his head. "This is insane. Totally insane." Despite the stress, John found Lyra fascinating. She wasn't just a servant. She had personality. She asked questions about Earth, about humans, and even about John's life. "So, John Mercer, what do you enjoy?" she asked one evening, standing by the kitchen counter. John shrugged. "I don't know. Fixing things, reading, coffee. Pretty boring stuff, really." Lyra tilted her head. "Boring? Your species can create and repair intricate systems with limited resources. That is remarkable. I have observed much more advanced species, yet humans display a unique resilience and adaptability." John blinked. resilience, and adaptability. You're saying humans are special? Lyra nodded. Indeed. Even in a universe with technology far beyond your own, humans find clever solutions. John felt a strange pride swell inside him. He had never thought of humanity that way. Maybe she was right. That night, John couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the absurdity of his situation. He had entered a sweepstakes for $1, expecting nothing. And now, he had an alien maid, potentially capable of extraordinary things, in his apartment. The next morning, he woke to find Lyra preparing breakfast perfectly on a counter he hadn't even cleaned yet. She moved with efficiency, yet there was something almost human in her movements. "Good morning, John," she said softly. Morning, Lyra," John replied, rubbing his eyes. "So, breakfast looks amazing, by the way." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Thank you. I calculate nutritional needs and preferences, then prepare accordingly." John laughed nervously. "Right, preferences, just a simple guy like me, huh?" "Yes, simple preferences. Simple tastes. Yet humans often underestimate simplicity as a form of brilliance," she said calmly. John paused, thinking. He had never considered his simple life as anything remarkable. But hearing an advanced being value it was strange, even inspiring. Days passed and John began testing Lyra's abilities in small ways. He asked her to repair gadgets in his shop. She could repair machines in minutes that he sometimes spent hours on. He asked her to organize deliveries and inventory. She did it flawlessly, even predicting which items would sell best. But it wasn't just about efficiency. Lyra had an uncanny ability to understand human emotions. When John complained about a difficult customer, she calmly suggested solutions that were clever and compassionate. When a neighbor brought a stray pet to the shop, Lyra immediately improvised a care station with limited resources. John was amazed. And for the first time he began thinking humans weren't just fragile, ordinary creatures. They were capable of clever thinking, creativity, and adaptation, qualities even an advanced alien could admire. "Humans are kind of amazing," John admitted one night as he watched Lyra arrange his tiny apartment with effortless precision. Lyra's eyes gleamed. "Yes. Your species may lack physical strength or technological prowess, but your ingenuity and creativity often surpass expectation." John laughed quietly. "Well, thanks, I guess. Coming from an alien maid, that's a first." Then, the trouble started. A knock at the door startled John. Outside were officials from the city's Alien Technology Control Division, accompanied by hovering drones. "John Mercer?" one of them asked sternly. "We have reports of unauthorized alien activity. Step aside and open your residence for inspection." John froze. Lyra's expression remained calm, but John could sense her calculating mind working at lightning speed. Sure, of course," John said nervously. He stepped aside as the officials scanned the apartment. They paused when they saw Lyra. This is advanced tech," one of them said, eyes wide. "Where did you get this?" John swallowed. A sweepstakes. I won $1 and, apparently, this came with it." The officials looked at each other in disbelief. Lyra stepped forward. "I am assigned to John Mercer. No harm intended. I comply with local laws." John held his breath. This could go very wrong. But surprisingly, the officials seemed impressed. "Unusual," one muttered. "Highly unusual. Keep your assistant contained and report any anomalies." They left, leaving John trembling with relief. Lyra turned to him. "Humans are remarkable in their problem-solving. You handled this encounter well." John shook his head, laughing nervously. "Well, yeah, I guess humans can be clever sometimes." He realized something important. This was just the beginning. He hadn't even scratched the surface of what Lyra could do, or how life with her would change his world. Life with Lyra quickly turned John's world upside down, but not in ways he could have imagined. She was not just a maid. She was fast, smart, and seemingly able to anticipate problems before they happened. At first, it was little things. Fixing broken gadgets in record time, organizing his apartment perfectly, or helping him create clever solutions at his electronics shop. But soon it became clear that Lyra's abilities went far beyond what any human could do. One morning, John arrived at his shop to find Lyra had already opened it and was organizing tools with precision he had never seen. Small mechanical drones she had created hovered in perfect formation, scanning every broken device in the store and placing them in order of urgency. Lyra, what are you doing? John asked, a mix of amazement and worry in his voice. I am preparing the shop for maximum efficiency, she replied calmly. I can repair these items in an optimal sequence to reduce your total work time by 70%. John stared. 70%? That's insane. Humans are capable of incredible focus and cleverness, Lyra said. I am merely assisting you, it was hard to argue. Over the next few days, John noticed other strange things. Lyra could predict minor problems before they happened. When a shelf in his shop threatened to collapse, she caught it instantly. When a power surge hit, she rerouted electricity before any damage occurred. And when the city's delivery drones malfunctioned, she repaired them in minutes. Word began to spread. Customers whispered about the strange assistant helping John. Some assumed she was a new AI model, but the ones who got close enough to see her teal, shimmering skin realized this was no ordinary machine. John, people are watching, said his friend Marta one afternoon as she peeked into the shop. That alien maid of yours, it's attracting attention. Big attention. John rubbed his forehead. Yeah, I know. I don't want trouble. I just wanted a quiet life and now you have an alien in your apartment, which is awesome. Marta interrupted with a grin. You should be proud. John couldn't help but smile. Yeah, I guess humans can handle the unexpected, huh? But the unexpected was just beginning. One evening, as John and Lyra closed the shop, a strange energy pulse ran through the city grid. Lights flickered, machines shut down briefly, and drones swerved erratically. Lyra immediately analyzed the situation. Someone is tampering with the city systems, she said calmly. The source appears external and technologically advanced. John's jaw dropped. You mean aliens? Lyra shook her head. Not aliens. Likely a human group with access to experimental tech. But their system is crude compared to me. John stared. Crude compared to you? Lyra nodded. I am capable of processing data at extremely high speeds. I can repair, analyze, and predict outcomes far beyond human technology. That night, John realized the depth of her abilities. She wasn't just a maid. She was a living tool of intelligence and skill. Yet she never took credit for herself. Instead, she highlighted human potential. You know, John said quietly, I never thought humans could do anything special. But seeing you in action, I get it. We're clever. We survive. We adapt, Lyra's eyes sparkled. Exactly. Your species may lack advanced tools, but your ingenuity is remarkable. John smiled. Well, I guess my sweepstakes dollar was worth it, huh? The next challenge came faster than he expected. A rival corporation called Novatech had apparently learned about Lyra and wanted her for themselves. One evening, as John returned to his apartment, he noticed strange shadows outside. A group of men in black uniforms moved carefully across the street, scanning the building. Lyra? I think we have company, he whispered. Lyra's expression remained calm. Yes, I detect advanced tracking devices and surveillance drones. They intend to take me. John gulped. Take you? Like...
Steal you?
Lyra nodded. They perceive my abilities as valuable. You are at risk as well. We must act cautiously. John's mind raced. He had no weapons, no army, just a small apartment and his human ingenuity. Yet somehow he felt ready. Humans had survived worse. Humans were clever. Humans could outthink stronger opponents. All right, he said. Then let's show them what humans can do. The plan was simple but risky. Using old electronics, household items, and clever improvisation, John set traps around his apartment. Broken wires became tripwires. Old mirrors reflected surveillance cameras' signals, and his gadgets created noise to confuse drones. Lyra assisted by providing advanced calculations, but she deliberately let John lead the creative decisions, highlighting human cleverness. When Novatech's agents arrived the next night, they were caught off guard. The apartment seemed ordinary at first, but as they stepped inside, alarms triggered, lights flashed, and small mechanical devices zipping around forced them to dodge and retreat. John moved quickly, pulling levers and tossing improvised smoke bombs while Lyra monitored the situation. Predicting their movements, she said softly. Humans often surprise opponents with creativity. You excel at unpredictability. John grinned, adrenaline pumping. Unpredictability. That's us! The agents left in confusion, not realizing the full scope of the traps or the aliens' cooperation. John and Lyra had won. Not by force, but by cleverness, planning, and teamwork. After the encounter, John realized something important. Lyra could have easily defeated the agents on her own, using her superior speed and intelligence, but she didn't. She allowed humans to shine, to take the lead and feel capable. That was the real lesson of her presence. Humans could achieve extraordinary things with the right guidance and courage. "You let me handle them," John said quietly that night, leaning against the wall, exhausted. "You could have stopped them instantly, but you—" "Let me be part of it," Lyra nodded. "Humans must be empowered. I'm capable, yes, but your species' value lies in creativity, courage, and adaptability. I merely assist. You lead." John felt a swell of pride. He had never thought of himself as heroic. But in that moment, he realized humans were capable of so much more than they believed. Even in a world of aliens and advanced technology, human ingenuity mattered. In the days that followed, John continued to test Lyra's abilities, but now with a different perspective. He began teaching neighbors small tricks like simple mechanical solutions, emergency planning, and clever improvisation. Slowly, people started to notice. Humans in his community began to feel a sense of pride, realizing that even in a universe full of advanced technology, their wits, teamwork, and resilience were valuable. "John," Marta said one evening, "I think people are starting to believe it. Humans can be special, and it's all because of you." "And Lyra," John smiled. "No, it's because we're humans. Lyra just reminds us." Then, just as things seemed under control, a new problem emerged. An alien corporation far more powerful than Novatech had detected Lyra's presence across the city grid. They weren't interested in just taking her. They wanted control of human civilization's interactions with alien tech. Their surveillance was constant, their reach impressive. Lyra analyzed the situation. "John, this is a serious threat. They have resources beyond human comprehension, but humans are adaptable. Clever humans can survive and overcome." John nodded, determination burning in his eyes. "Then we adapt. We survive. And we outsmart them." That night he looked at Lyra and felt something shift inside him. He realized that his life, once dull and predictable, was now filled with adventure, challenges, and purpose. And in the process, he had begun to understand something important. Humans were capable of amazing things, even in a galaxy that seemed bigger, stronger, and stranger than they could imagine. And with Lyra by his side, not as a tool, but as a guide, John felt ready for whatever the universe could throw at him, because humans, he thought, always found a W. The city never felt smaller or larger at the same time. For John Mercer, it now felt like a chessboard, one where he had to move carefully, outwit opponents, and protect something far greater than himself. Lyra's presence had already caused ripples, attracting attention from corporations, authorities, and alien organizations. The latest threat, a powerful alien conglomerate known as Virex Corp, was relentless. They had the resources, the technology, and the ambition to take Lyra and control anything connected to her. John stared out of his small apartment window, the city lights twinkling below. "We're outnumbered, Lyra," he said. "There's no way humans can fight them head-on." Lyra tilted her head. "Humans do not rely on brute force alone. Your species has strength in ingenuity, teamwork, and unpredictability. That is how you will prevail." John clenched his fists. "Then let's show them what humans can do." The next day, John gathered his friends and neighbors. Word of Virex Corp's surveillance had spread, and while fear lingered, curiosity and courage outweighed it. He explained the situation simply. The alien corporation wanted Lyra. They had advanced technology, but humans had creativity and teamwork. "Think of it like a game," John said. "We don't have their tech, but we have our brains, and that counts for a lot." Marta, always practical, added, "We'll help. We've got skills, gadgets, tools, and we're not afraid to use them." Lyra nodded approvingly. "Excellent. Coordination, strategy, and improvisation are your strongest weapons. I will assist, but you must lead." The first move came at night. Virex agents had set up a perimeter around John's block, using surveillance drones, hovering vehicles, and invisible energy sensors. Normally, humans would have fled or been captured, but John's team used everyday objects in clever ways. Old bicycles became mobile tripwires, garden hoses channeled water to short circuits, and mirrors reflected laser sensors to confuse the drones. Lyra guided the team from inside John's apartment, monitoring movements with her advanced sensors. Expect them to move from the north. Redirect with the reflective panels, she instructed calmly. John grinned. Humans are unpredictable. Let's give them a little chaos. And chaos they did. Agents tripped over wires, alarms blared, and drones collided with each other, unsure which signals to trust. John's neighbors, people who had never handled a weapon in their lives, improvised brilliantly. They used fire extinguishers to create smoke cover, clever barricades, and even paint to mark false paths. Lyra moved silently beside John, repairing machines when necessary, calculating trajectories, and even redirecting energy flows to disable some of Virex's gadgets. But she never took the lead, letting humans make decisions, improvise, and shine. Hours passed in tense anticipation. The alien agents adapted, learning from mistakes, but John and his team had already created layers of unpredictability. It wasn't just about fighting. It was about thinking differently, outsmarting, and surviving with limited resources. Humans are brilliant when pressured, Lyra said quietly, almost to herself. I have observed many advanced species, yet humans display unique creativity and resilience. They adapt in ways even I did not calculate. John smiled. Yeah, it's called survival instinct, Lyra, and a bit of stubbornness. The final confrontation came in the early hours. A small Virex strike team broke through a poorly defended sector. John's heart raced. This was it. The test of everything he had learned, everything his neighbors had contributed, and everything humans could achieve. Lyra whispered calculations into his earpiece. They will approach through the alley. Redirect them using the barricades and the decoy devices. Human ingenuity is your advantage here. John nodded. All right, team. Follow the plan and think on your feet. Humans, let's do this. The strike team entered the alley and immediately chaos erupted. Smoke, mirrors, tripwires, and sound devices created confusion. Agents stumbled into hidden nets and drones malfunctioned in a cascade of errors. The human team moved with surprising coordination, improvising when things went wrong. At one point, an agent lunged toward John. Without thinking, he grabbed a nearby metal pipe and used his environment cleverly, knocking the agent into a puddle of water that short-circuited the agent's energy weapon. Lyra watched silently, her gem-like eyes reflecting pride. Humans are unpredictable, adaptable, and fearless. Even with limited resources, they prevail. By dawn, the alley was empty. Virex agents had retreated, disoriented and defeated, not because of brute strength, not because of advanced tech, but because humans had outsmarted them at every turn. John and his neighbors stood together, exhausted but triumphant. Lyra appeared beside them, her presence calm yet radiant. You did it, she said softly. Humans, despite their limitations, demonstrated extraordinary creativity, courage, and teamwork. I am proud to observe you. John laughed, a mix of relief and exhilaration. We did it because we had to. Humans never give up. We think, we improvise, and we fight in our own way. That's who we are, Lyra's eyes shimmered. Indeed, your species' value is not in raw power, but in resilience, ingenuity, and determination. Today humans shone brighter than technology or alien prowess. The victory was not just against Virex. It was a turning point for John's city. Word spread of how a small group of humans had defended themselves, outsmarted a powerful alien corporation, and protected an alien being without relying on violence. People began to see themselves differently, valuing creativity, problem-solving, and courage. John returned to his apartment, exhausted. He looked at Lyra, who was quietly cleaning and organizing the space as if nothing extraordinary had happened. You know, he said, sitting down, I thought winning a dollar sweepstakes was meaningless. Turns out it brought me you and everything else. My life will never be boring again. Lyra paused and looked at him. Your life will never be boring, John Mercer. But it is not just life that has changed. Humans as a species are remarkable. Today you demonstrated it. You and your neighbors and your friends, humans shine. John smiled. Yeah, humans do shine, sometimes in unexpected ways. And in that moment he realized the full truth. Lyra had not just assisted him. She had amplified what humans were capable of, showing him that ordinary people, when clever and brave, could achieve extraordinary things. Days later, life returned to a semblance of normalcy. Lyra remained with John, not as a tool to dominate or replace humans, but as a guide, helper, and friend. The community around him felt stronger, more confident, and more united. They had faced a threat far beyond their understanding and survived, not because of alien tech, but because humans worked together, thought creatively, and never gave up. John stood on his balcony one evening watching the sunset over the city. Lyra joined him, silent but serene. "You know," John said, "I used to think humans were small, weak, and ordinary, but after all this, I get it. We're amazing in our own way." Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, your species is resilient, resourceful, and ingenious. You shine even in a universe full of stronger and faster beings. That is the essence of humans." John laughed quietly, all from a $1 sweepstakes. "Who knew?" Lyra's eyes gleamed. "Sometimes the smallest beginnings lead to the greatest outcomes. Humans never forget that." And as the city lights flickered on, John felt a new sense of purpose. Life had changed forever, not because of alien technology, but because humans had chosen to shine, to adapt, and to prove that cleverness, courage, and creativity could triumph over any obstacle, even the most advanced alien corporation. For John, Lyra, and the people around him, the universe suddenly felt like a place full of possibilities, and in that universe, humans had found their moment to shine.